Okay, so as you guys pop on, we're doing a little Facebook Live because we just showed up in Eagle Pass and we are witnessing a water rescue crossing right now. Usually border agents are working out here. They have to make sure that they get to safety because they are, once they get basically in the middle of this river, they're in the U.S. So they're not just going to leave them out here. So you see a boat out here. We've got Border Patrol boat in the water. And then we've got 4 people here crossing, as you can see. So if you're just now joining on here, that's what we're dealing with. Continuous crossings here in Eagle Pass. This is right here at that boat launch, as you can see. The shipping containers end right here. And there's some barbed wire, obviously, but then this is wide open. So we are witnessing, again, a group of 4 people crossing over from, so that's where they're crossing over from. Let me just let this play out for you guys. So for some perspective, this is the same river that they were crossing down the way, and 400 people showed up 2 nights ago and the night before. Last night was around 100, and these folks are soaked. Yeah, last night it was around 37 degrees. What my weather app told me, it felt like 32. So border agents were telling me that they worked really quickly to process folks because it was just so cold. So again, right now it's about 55, 56 degrees. So we can see these folks here. I don't know if it's a family unit, kind of looks to be one. I'm gonna ask the border agents if they'll let me talk to them now. Let me see. 1 second. Sir, can I speak with them?
No, why not?
Okay. So I can't talk to them right now, apparently. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's really difficult to make sure that we're able to get both sides of things, because when they get over to the U.S. side, we don't have a lot of access to the families and to people that are crossing. They pretty much get taken into border patrol custody, and that's it. So that was one of the reasons why I went all the way down to Mexico, was so that I could talk with them and learn why they're doing this. So something that we have seen over the last couple of days is a pretty big surge in Venezuelan migrants crossing into the U.S. And in part, back on January 6th, the Mexican government announced that they are ending the visa-free program for Venezuelans. So if Venezuelans were able to come in without having to get a visa to visit, that is no longer. That ended today. So there is obviously conversation surrounding that is part of the reason why we're seeing more Venezuelans out here than what we would normally see. I just got by the NGO again, and it is full of people. Last night they were saying they were helping around 400 people. From what I could tell in there today, there was well over 100. There was a couple of families, some really lovely little kids, and they're so infatuated with us as Americans, little girls. One of them was named Maria, and they're looking at my tag, like, how Border Patrol agents just put out that they have encountered 50 unaccompanied minors in just 2 days. When they talk to them, the kids say they don't even know where their parents are. So there are a lot of issues to what's going on out here. There's no denying that. But it has an impact on everybody. It has an impact on border agents, it has an impact on the migrants, whether they're trying to, whatever they're here for, has an impact on them. It has an impact on our border communities, has an impact on all of these things, because here's the thing, nobody's staying in these border communities. So these folks are, going into other places. So this will have a long-term effect. When you have 2 million unique encounters of migrants in the country in a calendar year, that's going to have an impact. There's no denying that. Now, it's not necessarily, that's not like I'm saying it's a bad impact. It's not for me to decide. Not for me to decide. That's why I provide you guys the facts, and then you guys can determine how you feel about the situations. So again, you got these guys working hard, getting the boats out of the water. They obviously have, you know, their work cut out for them. From a lot of the border agents I've talked to, this, you know, processing migrants and things like that was not necessarily what the job was when they first started, was not part of the process. You can see they're checking their passports. They do have their identification on them, handing them ID, passports, things like that. Okay, so does anybody have any questions while I'm out here? The landowner invited me to come back out, so we're going to go back out towards where they were crossing last night in just a little bit. But again, I just stopped by the NGO. The director was not there, so they asked me not to record, which is why I didn't go live. Someone's asking, do I know what's happening to the children? So what I'm told by border agents is that the children are turned over to HHS, Health and Human Services. So they're either going to find the family that's already here. You know, they work to link them back up with the family or a sponsor, or they will basically go be fostered until they can connect them with their family. That is what I'm told. I'm digging more. I am really working on figuring that one out, but it's really hard because it has to do with minors, and that's always really tight-lipped, and there's never a lot of transparency there. You know, because they're kids. Okay. So, who's funding travel? You know, I've got to figure that one out because I'm really not sure. A lot of them claim they can't afford bus tickets, but then they get on the bus. So I've got to figure that one out, you know, whether it's that they're getting, you know, a kick from sponsors. But, you know, a lot of people have this speculation that there's this big gotcha moment, like George Soros is standing over here giving people debit cards. That's not what I'm finding. I am going to ask some of my sources that I've been in really close contact with if they're comfortable sharing some of those details, because I have kept in contact with several migrants that I walked with in the caravan, so I can ask some questions, obviously, and because they're not all, you know, what everybody's painting this picture to be, but they are breaking the law. However, if they have a valid asylum claim, they're not, because technically by congressional law they have a right to claim asylum. So that's the other thing. There's like this gray area because everyone's claiming asylum, even if they have an economic claim. But that doesn't work for what our law is. But these people can't determine that. It has to be a judge that determines that. So what happens? NTA or NTR, which is a notice to appear or a notice to report. Now, the notice to report only holds about 30 days. So most people I talk to have about a 30-day window before they have to see a judge. However, in Yuma, I was told that they're giving ORs, which is an own recognizance. So it's just like a promise of like, you're gonna come back, right? So that's what they're dealing with. It's definitely a lot to process. They have a lot to process. Get it? Okay. Okay, so someone's saying, aren't they sending them back? It depends. A lot of people, there's a lot of lip service happening from the higher ups. Title 42 is the health code. If someone is sick, they cannot be sent back. So that's one thing. MPP, which is remain in Mexico, they can only send back 30 a day in this sector. There are 9 stations. They had 800 people over 2 days, and they can send back 30 also. There's that, which, you know, everyone thinks that MPP is back in place, remain in Mexico is back in place, so this is all not happening. It is happening. And they're most likely, what border agents tell me is a lot of them are staying. A lot of them are staying. Majority is what they say. And I mean, really the only people that are being sent back is Title 42. And some of them are being repatriated. I know that in Yuma, a lot of the Haitian migrants were being sent back. So I don't know the rhyme or reason for a lot of this. I don't know why the Mexican government is singling out Venezuela on this. I don't know. I have some digging to do. I do not believe that the triangle countries, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala, have to have a visa to enter. because I sure as heck didn't when I crossed the Suchiate River from Guatemala. So I've got some digging to do, but it is interesting that this policy is going in place today for Venezuelan nationals. It's interesting to me. And one of the reasons why that's interesting to me is because every Venezuelan I've talked to actually has a legitimate claim. They're not economic claims. They actually are fleeing persecution and corruption. So it's really interesting that they're now going to be stuck on the other side of the Mexican border, and people that have economic claims are freely kind of pouring in. I find that very interesting. And I don't know, if there was communication between our governments and Mexico's governments or what. I do not know how that transpired. But interesting nonetheless. So, when I was here a month ago, maybe it wasn't a month ago, same spot where we ended with the shipping containers. You can see they go pretty far that way under the POE. So this is a port of entry, you guys. A lot of people have asked, literally, these people just crossed. There's where you can walk across. So it's like, why don't you walk across? Well, it's because if they walk across to self-surrender, they're going to get a number and then get kicked back into Mexico to wait for their turn. So they're bypassing the POE and crossing the river so that they can self-surrender and get into custody and be processed. That's why they're not crossing the POE, is because they will be sent back to Mexico. That's why. So really interesting. I always learn something new whenever I'm out here. So I'm gonna jump off of this live and actually, this place has so many border agents. I'm very safe. So let's take a little walk. Think I'll go for a walk outside now. Sun's calling my name. You're on it with me, right? It's Friday, right? Is it Friday? I've been gone, I think, for 10 days now. I have my dogs with me. Anybody want to tell me I'm unprofessional? Okay, so I'm gonna stay. So, there's the van. The van will be gone. You guys see Bob and Phyllis? Hi, buddy. They like to sit in the car. Phyllis hides under my seat usually because she likes to be in the shade. Okay. Okay, so yeah, again, a family of 4. We watched them just cross the river here and just walk right up the boat ramp and self-surrender. So now we have border agents taking their information, asking them questions, and they will take them, process them in whatever capacity. I do not know their stories. I do not know what the border agents are allowed to do, what their role is. I do not think that they select who goes and stays. I think that comes from a different directive. But these gentlemen will take this family, this group of 4. Sorry, I'm speculating it's a family. And they're gonna go get processed and likely end up at that NGO. Unless they get sent back immediately, which I haven't seen a lot of that happen over the last couple of days. Especially when we know that the NGO is helping hundreds of people. And over the last couple of days, we saw hundreds of people. So within 2 days, there were about 800 people crossing into Eagle Pass. Last night, border agents tell me it was over 100. So they were still dealing with a pretty good influx of people. But they did process them pretty quickly because it was so cold. So it was only 37 degrees, I think, but my app said it felt like 32. So these folks crossed the river in 32-degree weather, basically, and are standing there waiting to get processed. It was brutal. Now, it is their choice. They make that choice, right? They make that choice. So I'm not sure what the water temperature is. You want me to go feel it? Let's go feel it. Because that's what we do. We experience the truth, right? Let's go find out what's going on in the water. So yeah, they will likely go to NGO. So in Eagle Pass, typically they get a lot of smuggling and a lot of drug smuggling, human smuggling situations here. Right now, they have had that surge of people from Venezuela. That has since died down. We'll see if it, picks back up again tonight. This is, okay. Not warm. Not something I want to go in. It is not warm. I don't have a thermometer to stick in there, but let's see. It's cold. I mean, it's like Deer Creek River from when I was growing up. It's not warm. You guys don't want to be crossing that river. Let's just say that. And they are under like a winter storm advisory in Texas. Like it's been really cold, much colder than normal. So they're certainly dealing with that. Yeah. Sorry, there's like law enforcement everywhere. I just try to be as forthcoming with who I am as possible. I don't want to be a reason why they can't do their job effectively. So I'll sit here and wait till they get on the van because we finish things out, and then I'll walk along the border a little bit to see. Last time I was out here, it was so eerie. There was like an ice cream truck sound. Do you remember that? It was so creepy. Okay. Alligators? What? Oof. Okay. So then what's really sad too is in Del Rio this past week, a little 7-year-old girl from Venezuela drowned crossing the Rio with her mom. The mom lost her grip. I can't even imagine what that would feel like. I don't even want to imagine. That's just terrible. Okay, so again, grabbing their belongings, get in the border patrol van, and we'll head off. So, hi Kara. I've been live for a little while. We watched a group cross this river here. So, you might want to watch the replay. So, I'm getting ready to end my live actually after these guys head off. But again, like there's, they put these, it's like a hovercraft. What kind of boat? Do you guys know what that's called? That's what it looks like to me. Someone saying the water's all poo. Yeah, probably. It's fine. It's fine. I'm a dirty kid. I drink from the hose and don't wash my fruit. I'm fine. My immune system's solid. You can barely hear you. It's when I turn my camera around, you can't hear me as well. We're in Eagle Pass. I didn't say anything about Eagles. Eagle Pass is a place in Texas. It's in the Del Rio sector. It is one of the really hot spots, always has been, for drug trafficking and human smuggling. But right now we're seeing an influx of crossings, water crossings, and people over the last couple of days, we saw hundreds of people come in. So border agents were certainly busy, had their hands full, of course, dealing with processing people. But again, they were working really hard to process people quickly last night because it was frigid, very cold temperatures. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take a walk. I'll just flip this around. So they leave a lot of stuff here. And the reason for that is it's soaked. It's soaking wet. Take care. So they strip it off. We saw it, if you guys were watching my live yesterday, we saw it down at the other crossing on that private land. There was clothing everywhere, because as soon as they come over, they're wet and cold. They might have clothing in their backpacks, things like that. Like people are like, oh, there's not a speck of dirt on them. They might have a change of clothes in their backpack and things like that, or their friend might have one. So they are crossing the river. They are going through pretty dicey conditions. But again, it's a choice, right? Everybody has a choice. Everyone has free will. So they are making the choice to do that. And depending on why they're doing it, it has major legal implications. Oh, this is what happened last time. Not going that way. Last time I think went all out and was trying to reconnect. So I'm not going to go that way. I don't see anything over there. And if there was activity, then border agents would be over there. So I don't really see a reason to go that way. So they do have a fence here. And I believe this one looks similar to the one that was in Del Rio. It looks like the Bush wall. There's a wall that was erected during the Bush era as well. Governor Abbott has since started building the Texas wall that is being put up in Eagle Pass. It's also being put up in the valley in Rio Grande City, I think is where it started. So he does have some things in the works. President Biden and Alejandro Mayorkas, the DHS secretary, have also announced they're going to kind of start back on the border wall that was being constructed under the last administration. So those things are all kind of in the works. As far as policies or anything that has been enacted over the last couple of weeks, nothing new to secure the border. A couple of things have happened as far as expanding work visas, things like that, to allow people opportunity. You know, if they just want to be here to work and send money home, then why isn't that the messaging making it to them? You know, or why isn't the process to apply for a work visa different? You know, why are these people trespassing and getting arrested and crossing the river? I mean, it's, you know, there's got to be a better plan. Communication is breaking down. It's getting lost in translation, as it always does. Mixed messaging is getting back, and when there are better options and better opportunities, it's kind of frustrating to sit here and like, do something, because people are dying. You know, people are dying trying to come into our country. They're dying crossing the Darien Gap. They are dying crossing the Rio Grande into Del Rio. It's really sad, you know, and to sit down and talk with these people. They are human beings, and again, I'm a Christian first. You know, I'm a human first, but they are making the choice. And it's really, really devastating to see kids going through this. I don't like that part. I don't like, kids didn't ask for any of this. Kids didn't ask to walk in that caravan, to get sick, to get dengue fever, to cross a river when it's 30 degrees. It's a lot. It's a lot to process. And then I'm in there with these little girls, and they're like, Allie, oh, you know, they're just so innocent. And kids will always find ways to be kids. It's really inspiring to be around little kids in really tough times. If you guys need inspiration, go hang out with a child. You know, they just see the world with a different lens. They just do. It's innocent and kind, and there's nothing else. So yeah, I'm gonna head to the other area where we saw those crossings and see what's going on. I'm gonna meet up with the landowner. I am going to be on News Nation tonight with Leland Vittert. We're gonna be talking about this situation. We're gonna be talking about the Venezuelan surge that we saw. So join us. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern. I linked it on my page here on Facebook, and also it's on my Instagram stories. So hopefully you guys join us. We're just gonna be talking about, you know, what we've seen here, because the more eyes and the more ears that can understand what's going on, the more we can help everybody, right? Because everybody's impacted. So, okay, I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. I appreciate you all. Oh, one last thing. I'm never gonna tell anybody to go back, because that's not my job. See you soon.